Hi, I'm Nancy. Welcome to the Heart Club. It's the Child at Heart Club. It's for all ages. It's for families, where you use my buddy system, where some talented family members look over each other's shoulders, work together, grandparents, grandkids. He stands for God. A, my little easel, for art. R for religion, and T for your talent, all in the service of God. So we're out here in the French plein air. We're not in France, but this is plein, P-L-E-I-N, plein air art. This lesson, it's going to be fun. It is a pumpkin portrait. And we're going to paint a picture of whomever you want to paint on your pumpkin. I always feature a famous artist, but before I do that, I want to tell you about the colors you're going to want to have on hand. You may have in your house, you may pre-order. So this is my palette, and you know about palettes. The reason for palettes is that you can get close, walk up, get close, far back, and get perspective. Sometimes I'll even turn around once and I come back and I go, oh my goodness, that's crooked. So this is a palette, and I started out with a white. I love the names of these colors. These are hundreds of years old. When you have the artists, especially the French pack rat group, Renoir, Monet, they would grind their paint, and it usually had lead in it, and they would point their brush. They would point their brush in their mouth. Maybe Van Gogh. I think Caravaggio also. We'll be talking about him. Maybe got lead poisoning. But so the names are wonderful. This is titanium white. These are acrylics, otherwise called student oil. Titanium white. So any kind of thick paint you might have at home will do. But I love these names. So on my palette, after the white, I poured black. It's called Mars Black. These are old names. And artists rarely use black, but in the picture we're doing, I'm doing, the pumpkin for me is my granddaughter, and she has black hair, so I'm using black. Of course, it's not just black hair. We're going to put some different colors in the black hair. Your portrait, you may have blue eyes. My granddaughter has darker eyes, so you'll need to pull out some blue or some blonde or whatever. So you're going to have to be a creative artist. Mars Black is my next color. This color is a beautiful brown called Raw Umber. I don't know what rock that color came out from under. Then there's Red Ochre. And then there's a more brown red, this one, along with my ant and my plein air art. Sorry, Ant, you need to go. This one's called Burnt Sienna. Burnt Sienna. Sienna is a place in Italy, I think. And that's where a lot of famous artists were. Crimson red. And this last color that I poured is vermilion. Crimson is a color that if you go into any art gallery, pay attention. Pay attention to what the famous artists do with crimson. So our artist, our featured artist, is Frances Hook. She died in the 1980s. She was well known for sacred Christian art, sacred art. Actually, her husband worked as a team with her, and they got into figurines and plates and all that. But it's this book, my Jesus book, that my children years and years ago colored on it, is a fabulous, well-known book called My Jesus Book. And here is the picture. This picture, Jesus and the children. Her technique was with pastel chalk, and boy, could she make the little babies that she made for the Northern toilet paper. She made the company famous. toilet paper on the front of it. She did these pastel chalks. Talk about the perfect medium to make these kids all soft and velvety. But here's the crimson. Crimson. Hot pink. Crimson is in it. She's put some crimson right there. Crimson around the nose. A big stroke of crimson on the ear. Back of the hands. In between the knuckles. Here's a little crimson swipe there, under here. I think she probably used more of the vermilion, which is orangier on the cheeks of this cute little redhead, and the eyes, aren't they precious? We're going to be talking, I'm going to show you how to do eyes, how to do noses, how to do mouths. The hardest art form out there is portraits, but harder than that is children's portraits. But we will have a little bit of, I cut a little bit of slack by doing it on a pumpkin. So that makes it even more fun because it's hard to get everything balanced. Another one of hers on her northern tissue, pastel chalks, soft as can be, beautiful eyes, blue-eyed one. Notice how big those pupils are, really big, because that little darling little girl is very relaxed and her pupils are big. If an animal's going to attack, their pupils get really small and their eyes get squinty, so you're going to want to do big, wide, friendly eyes on your pumpkin portrait. And this is another version, pastel chalk. And then this last one is, I mean, how cute is that? So, she was a genius with portraits. So I have a portrait of my granddaughter, and you're going to want a portrait if you really want to take this very seriously, unless you have your subject sitting right across from you, which is what Frances Hook did. She said she would stay all day sitting around a little kid, watching the expressions. Everything changes when the face looks down, the lips, the angle of the nose, the eyes, the crown of the head. She would take the crown way back. She would watch them, watch their personality, the curl of their lips, and then she'd start slowly, carefully snapping pictures. And then she would take that picture to the studio. This is what she says that she did. So we're going to do this pumpkin, and I'm going to show you a few basic techniques on portraits here. Hope it doesn't blow away in our plain air. But first I want to read you a very appropriate verse. These art lessons have 4 components to them. They have a famous Christian religious masterpiece. They have the famous artist, and you have to decide, were they Christian, or were they just being paid, or were they evil, or what were they? We're going to get into the artist bios, the artist's famous sayings, and then we're also going to go into their artist techniques. Like Caravaggio had a special lighting technique that followed him for 100 years, and where he would he did a picture. Oh, look up, Peter crucified upside down, and his head. This older guy, he looked stunned and dazed and brave, but Caravaggio only hit the light on his cheekbone, going through his eye, just a little hint. So we're going to go into artist techniques. That art technique is called chiaroscuro, and I'm not sure I said that right. chiaroscuro, which is an Italian word. So that's going to be a component, but it's also a gift class, a gift making class. This one's a pumpkin. Some are going to be on a clay pot. That's my Daniel lesson, where we paint tomato vines and tomatoes on a clay pot, and the verse, there's always a memory verse, and that one, the clay pot, becomes the memory verse is about God, Nebuchadnezzar telling Daniel, your God is the only God. Our memory verse for this lesson is Luke 12, verse 7. So there's always going to be a memory verse in these art classes that we're painting on. Objects that become gifts. That's the last component. These become inspiring gifts that you're creating to give. And it's a do-gooder club. It's a gift-giving club. The quote from Luke 12 for this lesson is, "But even the very hairs on your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore, you are of more value than many sparrows." But I wanted to read you this, and I want to read you this. This is going around. You may have heard it, but I think I love it. So it says, "We are like pumpkins. God comes to us on the vine and picks us up. He washes the dirt off." I love this plein air. He washes the dirt off. Then he scoops out the bad stuff, the seeds of doubt, the fear, anger. He then puts a smile on our face and sets a candle inside so that his light shines forth from within us. So, Francis Hook is the artist. It's going to be a seriously fine art portrait lesson. So let's get started. When you do a face, first of all, you never go bigger than the span of your hand. Otherwise it gets to be very ghoulish looking. Large, huge portraits just don't work. So you probably have heard the standard rule is from the top, it's a third across the eyes, it's a third across the bottom of the nose, it's a third across the bottom of the lip, or this is divided in half. From the nose to the lip to the lip to the chin. The chin is a third. Third. So the nose has a cartilage underneath it. The very end of it is the soft part. You don't want to do a snout. There's something wrong about doing something that looks like this. That's obviously not the way you do a nose. You hint at it. So you hint at it. Here I've kind of put some nostrils there. But with the paint, you kind of decide which side is the light coming from. Is the light coming from this side, which it is? So this side of the hair is going to be glossy and shiny, and everything on this side of the face, the cheekbone, is going to be defined, all of it by shadow. So this side of the nose will hint at the bridge with a shadow. And then we can come around here. And let me just fix this. These pictures are very expensive. These Francis Hook pictures. Okay, good. Now, so we're going to do darker under the nostrils, and I'll be doing this on here too. But just showing you that you can hint at your nostrils with a little darker. You're going to have a shadow that hits this little ridge. This side's going to be a little lighter. This cartilage is going to show up kind of lighter. And it has two sections to it. Depends on, everybody's nose is different. So this is going to be a little darker underneath. But it's mostly this shadow here. Then there's kind of a ball on the end of the nose for some people. I do a lot of finger painting, by the way. So basically, to do a nose, you're going to do the shadowing. And you would have an airplane in our plein air art too. part of a nose. When you do an eye, the eye, I'm going to outline my granddaughter's eye. It goes around here. There's a shape to an eye. Some people have heavy eyelids. Some people have they have hooded eyelids. And there's two times when you can really truly use your finger. One of them is in the center of an eyeball. You can go around. And by the way, some people have a lot of white showing under their eyeball. In Hollywood, a lot of the famous people, you'll see more white underneath the eyeball showing. Some people, their eyeball touches right down against the lower lid. But you can go around and you can use your finger and make something very round. It goes pretty easy. When you're doing a moon, that's another way to do a good moon. So finger painting works for me. Eyelid, you're going to have an eyelid. Little kids don't have usually really heavy eyelids. You have an eyebrow that comes up against this bridge. You're going to have an eyebrow. Eyebrows are extremely important for showing expressions. Usually thicker right there. Some people have pointy eyebrows. Some people have arched eyebrows. Eyebrows show your moods. It's very important that you get that right. And then this eye is going to be an eye apart from the other eye. This eye length, there's the center to my other eye, an eyeball up, whole eye shape apart, and then a whole nother eye. So then on the important thing about eyes is that they're watery and they're glassy. And actually, you have rods and cones in there that kind of reflect pretty colors. You can add all sorts of things to your eye. When the sun shines through my granddaughter's eye, it has that kind of a beautiful gold color. And then you got your shine dots. And they got to be on the same spot. So if I'm going to give her shine dots to look glossy and watery, on this eye, I'm going to have to do them the exact same place as the other side. All right, lips. Lips are, everybody has a different kind of lip. We're going to go back to our crimson, our beautiful crimson. And by the way, I always think that 2 colors is better than 1. 3 colors is better than 2. I always mix like this, I'm going to use the crimson, and I'm going to use some of the orange. And if they kind of bleed together, I love it. And so as you know, in the center, you've got this little, whatever the word is, a little lip bump. It's really cool. And my paints are drying out fast in the wind. And so, so there's a lot of curving. Expression, oh my goodness, it's all in the corner of the lip. You turn it up, you can turn it down, it's a frown. These are like 2 balls right here. And they can have some shine to them. So white is always great for putting a little shine. Remember, our light's coming this way. So we're going to have some light hitting on the nose. And we're going to have some light hitting on the little ball here and here. And of course you can work with it a lot more than that. So, we're going to paint the pumpkin. But I do want you to remember, I was just taking a note, you're going to want to write that verse on the back. Even if you just write Luke 12:7 about God numbering the hairs on our head. Luke 12:7 somewhere on this, so that the people don't forget that you took this from inspiration from the Bible. So this is going to blow, so I'll put it right here. Our pumpkin. Got to get some skin on it. Oh, the other thing besides the verse is to put your signature, your autograph, somewhere on it. And if you really do want to make this a wonderful gift, like to your grandparents to cheer up their porch or something, if it's a kid, do it on a ceramic pumpkin that's going to last forever and you'll always go, I remember when so-and-so was just a little tyke and they looked kind of like this. Hopefully a lot like this. All right, so I'm going to attempt to put a face on this. I'm going to show you my palette, and I'm going to do some skin. All right, brushes. There's two fine art brushes. One is sable, which is horsehair, which is what I'm using here, which is a soft, fine brush, and I think it'll translate nicely onto this smooth skin pumpkin. By the way, I tried to get one without very deep ridges. Then there's another kind. I'm sure you're familiar with the bristle brushes. That's the boar brushes. They are kind of more white and rough. They're more for seriously hard oil. But on this pumpkin, I'm going to use these softer ones. So I got to give her a face, and I'm going to give her some skin color. And everybody's got gloriously different skin colors. And so I'm just using those colors that I named, and I'm going to give it a try. Flesh colored. I think I need a lot more paint to cover this pumpkin. I'm going to do some red, some of my burnt sienna, and some of my titanium white. So let's see if I can get some coverage here. I'm not going to do a full broad, wide face on her. So I'm going to just kind of do a little face within a pumpkin. Kind of takes some imagination to tell the truth. And in a perfect world, I would let this dry. So she's got some big pores. All right, I think I've covered them up. So this is going to be the content of her face. Now I'm going to do her beautiful dark eyes. Let's start with this. So I'm going to outline her eye. I'm going to use a dark brown because the black's too hard. I'm going to outline her eye like I showed you. And then I'm going to go a whole eye length over here, one whole eye length over here, and I'm going to outline this eye. I want her to be smiling, so I'm going to kind of do one of these little, the bottom eye part can kind of come up a little, over. And then, the eyes close a little bit when you smile. Little eyelid, cute little eyelids, some darling little eyelashes on our little animated pumpkin. She's got some thick eyelashes, huh? Actually, she does have thick eyelashes. And then eyebrows are so expressive. Let me look at her portrait. Kind of wispy little eyebrows. If you're doing kids. There's are kind of light and darling. Okay? So then I'm going to hint at her nose. See here. So I'm going with my burnt umber. I'm going to get a little crimson in here. So these are going to be darker colors because we've got her face flesh painted. A little hint and a cute little nose. And a little side shadow. edge over here. I'm just going to hint. With men, it's different. You can get beards and deep shadows and all of that. Like I said, I do a lot with finger painting. And I just need to touch up this flesh. Let me keep that there. I think I'm going to be needing it. Alright, now I'm going to work on some lips. Dark crimson. I'm going to work on the crimson. See if I can ld this still for you. So I'm going to have swirly, cute little lips. And this is slightly animated, kind of cartoonish. Remember, we're going to do the little two puff pillow little lip things. And there is a shadow in the middle of the lip that crosses across where the two lips meet. We've got to define that for sure. Alright. I definitely see what's missing. These are shine dots. Watery, glassy shine. This is going to make this come to life. Wait, I think I'm going to add a little more rods and cones to it. I'm going to give her a little more dimension into her eyeball. So I'm going to give her some of this pretty, some rods and cones, a little more life to her eye. It's a little dark. Alright, now we're going to, there, now they look more brown. So here comes our shine. And by the way, lots of times accidental paint works really well, and if you mess with it and mess with it and mess with it, it can be a mess. So learn when to stop. Shine dot, shine dot, shine dot. That eye's not big enough. That bothers me. They have to be symmetrical, so I'm going to make this eye go out a little further. There, that's a little better. So, like I said, these dots have to be in the same place here, because if a mirror's shining in her face or whatever, it's going to be the same thing. She's not cross-eyed. I like to use the end of my brush for details. Alright, so granddaughter has gorgeous black hair. She's got a shock full of bangs, darling bangs. Sometimes they cover her eyebrows. I'm using a pretty big brush for this. Gotta hide the orange. Now, I've got to define her chin. This gets kind of tricky. Little girl chin. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a cute little lacy collar. Actually, it can't be her flesh color, so it has to be more pink. So something down here kind of cute to hide that. Let's keep going with the black hair. Shape of her face. Now, where was the light shining from? You can see it's shining from there, so we're going to go like this, and we're going to tone that in a little bit of light shining here, but not on that side so much. It's shining on that of the other side. She needs a slightly, remember I told you, there is some crimson in the eyes, a little crimson there. There is a little more crimson around the edges of the people's noses. She needs a slight cheekbone shadow. Some cute little cheekbone shadows. And I think I'm going to stop while I'm ahead. Just clean this up a little bit. Cut across there. I think you get the idea. Sweet little girl. And for little girls, I'm not going to get this wet, but I could tie a little bow tie up here on the top. Maybe I will. You're worth it. I'm going to tie this up here. Kind of frame her face for a little boy. You could maybe put a little cap, if you could find a baby baseball cap or something. So, pumpkin portrait. Now if you want to give it in a bag, always with these gifts that we create every month, there's going to be 2 lessons a month. With these gifts that we create, we need to decorate our own boxes or our own bags. I like to take a palette like this and draw it on a cardboard box or on a plain bag, and I like to put some globs of paint and put some brushes, draw some brushes across and decorate my own box. Or you can keep on going with paint all over your box or your plain gift bag. Decorate your own stuff. Make your own cards. And that is our modern artist, our rather modern artist, Frances Hook, portrait artist. Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for the ability to paint 2D, to try to make 3D. But you are the master creator. You are the one who just says the word, and you breathe life into people, for which we are so grateful. In thy name we pray. Amen.